podium of the season for you, Will. Some craziness there at the end. You gave up some spots, but got one back. Pleased with your podium today?
Yeah, very satisfied. Very good strategy. I mean, starting on the blacks, everything played out as we thought. The one thing that I guess, we were worried when that yellow came. Everyone packs up. But then we got yellow again, so that kind of helped us. We had 10 laps to push hard. I got blue on the restart, and then they went off, and he got me back. But yeah, that was, I couldn't get him. I tried everything. I think my one chance was, when Dixon got into me a little bit, I was trying to switch back and get a run and maybe get him into 4. But apart from that, there's no, the next restart I was in 3rd, so I didn't have another shot at him. But very good job. Man, you're never looking back on seconds as a bad day. Never. Although the guy that I was needing to close points to was the guy that won, but it's, we limited the damage.
Collect as many podiums as you can. That's what happened. Consistency was your key last year too.
Yeah. That's why I kicked myself for the tiniest of mistakes at Indy. It cost me a chance to win and just got the wall. It's just because it was loose, the angle of the car, I didn't feel it. That was a big chunk of points.
Questions for Will Power. We also invite everybody that's on Zoom. We'll take as many questions from you folks as we can here as well. Let's go ahead and begin here in the front row. We'll go Bruce and then Tim.
Was that one of the most aggressive drives you've had in the last couple of years? Because when you were coming up through the field, it was pretty fierce.
Yeah, I mean, they were pretty measured moves, but yeah, I was, never going to do something that I didn't feel was going to be pulled off. I've been around too long to try that, but yeah, we're in the situation to be aggressive. That's why we started on blacks. We're too far back to try to play conservative. We got to attack at every chance. So that's why, I'm trying to go as hard as I can right now.
Tim?
Yeah, talk about when you went up on 2 wheels there when you cut back over. You were trying to do that. It was obvious what you're trying to do there. What comes over all you guys going into a turn like that with a race on the line, Will? Can you explain?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was just trying my absolute best to get Palou in a clean way. I wasn't going to do any sort of dive bomb, but yeah, that's as it gets down to it. Depending on who's in the game, obviously Palou had the most to lose because he's leading by a chunk. But there's a few guys in there that don't have as much to lose. So, I was one of them. I needed to. I'm thinking in my head, I've got to try to get this guy if I can to limit the damage.
Do you guys or do you ever think about, at the end, hey, we put on a heck of a show there? Does that ever cross your mind?
I did, actually. I said it coming up the elevator. I said it's probably a pretty good race from the outside. So some pretty big moves in there from people. I can't imagine what it was like back in the pack, but yeah, looked like it would be a good race. I have the worst allergies here. I just usually over them by the time you come from Indy, but man, it's been terrible here.
Also joined by the 3rd place finisher Felix Rosenquist, driving the number 6 1 Semi Aero McLaren Chevrolet. First podium of the season, 5th of your career. Felix, great way to finish up this weekend for you, huh?
Yeah, that was an awesome race. I have to say I was really impressed with what GM and Chevy has done to make this happen. I think there was some criticism to start the weekend, but it all played out really nicely. I had to say it was a fun racetrack. It raced really well. That long straightaway, we picked the low downforce option, and we were able to pass on cars on the end of the straight. And it was awesome. I thought it wasn't going to be a lot of passing, but it was actually raced super well. So big thanks to GM and Chevy. Good race. I thought it was good to be back on the podium. It's been a while, so we'll take that.
More questions for our 2nd and 3rd place finishers. We'll go. Yep, perfect. Thank you.
Well, when you won last year at Belle Isle, you used the alternates on the last stint of the race. What was the reason you went for the alternates for the 2nd stint this time around?
To protect from losing too much. because if they happened to go off badly and you had a full stint, and the last stint was going to be the longest because you're always going to pit on the early side and save fuel for the chance of getting caught by a yellow and the pit's closing, and then you're done. Everyone's got you. But yeah, that was the reason. Try and minimize the amount of laps, basically.
And for Felix, great car at Indy, frustrating result, great result here, going to a track that you won at a few years ago. How good is it that you have the momentum coming in now to lead in Road America?
Yeah, I think we needed it. You know, we've been up there pretty much every weekend, but we had 3 DNFs this year, which hurts. But it seems like in this championship this year, a lot of the top runners have had a lot of tough races as well. So I think you can recover if we keep the momentum going. But yeah, it's nice. I think all the boys and girls on the 6 car and on semi, our McLaren really deserved it. You know, we've been up there sniffing for a long time and hasn't worked out. But yeah, it was a fun race. It felt like we were just quick all through it, and we went up every stage of the race, and we were in a position where we could maybe win it in the end. But yeah, it was bit dicey on the restarts in the end. It was the second last there. I think Dixon went wide and had to grab the clutch. I think Will had the same, so that potentially could have cost us a bit. But yeah, I'm happy to finish on the podium after all the close calls.
You're right.
One for both. I'll start with Felix. The thing with Rossi at the end, I heard you talk about you guys have sort of been racing around each other all year, and I think didn't you have a thing at Toronto? I think maybe last year. So how do you work through all that? Have you talked to him before, and how do you work through it from here forward?
I mean, we race hard, but I think we also race fair. You know, obviously we like each other, and we don't have any intentions to put each other in the wall. But it was it was tight, and there was, I think the move wasn't really high risk. I was completely alongside him in 2-3, and yeah, it just gets tight, man. It's so close, and he squeezed me a little bit on entry, and I squeezed him a bit on exit, but. Yeah, I think it's a good problem to have. You know, our McLaren cars have kind of been up there every race, and now we're 3 cars. So you're going to find yourself in situations where you're fighting teammates, and I think it's something we'll discuss internally if we can manage it differently. Obviously, there was no team calls really on this one, which I think is cool. They let us battle it out on the track, but I think Will can probably explain how it works when you have a lot of good cars at the front. It's good problems to have.
And Will, can you give us the entire Flavor Flav story from your perspective? Like how you found out he was going to be in the car, how he got your T-shirt, the whole thing.
Well, I was just sitting talking to Roger and Tim yesterday, and they said, someone said, no, we're watching an interview. Kevin Lee was having an interview with Flavor Flav. I'm like, man, if he's here, he's got to come over. So yeah, I got to meet him. And then he came on my truck. He had the Willpower shirt on. His girlfriend had the same. And I just said, and a couple of my boys from Toowoomba were like, dude, you should quit racing now. You've made it. Like, like we all listened to Public Enemy in the 90s. And Flavor Flav was someone I thought I would never meet. And he's not different. Boy. Yeah, boy. Yeah, I mean, he's the most positive dude you'll ever meet. I thought he was going to come to the podium. I think if I won, he would have. But pretty cool experience. Pretty cool to put it on your personal Facebook. Like all your friends you went to school with and everything. Like, man, this dude is big time. He's hanging out with Flavor Flav. Well, I've sat next to Ice-T at dinner. I've also had dinner with Slash from Guns N' Roses, so it's I wish I got videos of those ones as well, put on my personal Facebook, just like, look, no one cares that I race cars or won the Indy 500. Like, you went to dinner with Slash? You know Flavor Flav? Yeah,
Did he buy the T-shirt, or did somebody give him the T-shirt? Or
no, I think he went to the merch store, bought one of my cars, and bought the T-shirts.
Last one,
cool.
Do you have a favorite Public Enemy song or album?
I said this morning, I said to Flav, you know what? People today are going to have to fight the power. And it was true, they had to fight the power. Yeah. What's that?
We'll get Eminem here.
Well, yeah, he lives here. Should get Eminem. I'm more of a 90s rap guy, but if I met Eminem, that would also be epic. Ice Cube's the one, man. If I could meet Ice Cube or Snoop Dogg, and Long Beach. Why doesn't someone bring him to Long Beach, man? Imagine having an ice cube there, and that would be dope. Oh yeah, dude, I'm older than you think. I'm 10 years older than Pato. I think 9 maybe. Yeah, I'm getting there.
This is your wheelhouse then.
Huh?
This is your wheelhouse. This is,
Yeah.
you understand, okay.
Yeah.
Bruce, go ahead.
The fact that you said it needs to be discussed internally, but I mean, I mean, you're racing for position at the end of the race. You're racing for a victory. So, what really is there reason to discuss?
I don't know. I mean, we'll talk about it. As I said, I didn't think committing to the move wasn't high risk, and I wouldn't want to do it high risk. You know, with a teammate, you never want to. But yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll get through it. You know, Alex is a good dude, and you know, as I said, we've been fighting each other before and a lot this year. We've pretty much been around each other all season. So yeah, we're probably gonna keep doing it.
Tim, do you have something?
Yeah.
Hang on a second, let's put a mic on you. There you go.
Following up on that, like you said, you know, in the post race, he squeezed you going in, and you kind of squeezed him going out, but nobody hit the wall. Y'all did touch him.
Yeah, I mean, I think he actually hit the wall, but I think he got out in the marbles. So I think it's just a good thing that he was able to get back in fifth, you know. But as I say, I mean, I pretty much didn't have any more room on entry, so I was just trying to not go into the wall on the apex, and then after that, I just tried to get out of the corner as quick as I can and give him the room he needed. But yeah, as I say, we'll talk about it. It's no biggie. I'm just happy that, you know, we're both finished up front still.
Hey, quick follow up, both of you guys. A lot of people criticize this track. You know, there was some criticism of this track, but when did it become apparent to y'all that, like you said a while ago, Felix, it turned into a pretty good racetrack? When did it become apparent? Did it become apparent yesterday, or just 4, 5, 8, 10 laps into the race that you could pass somebody?
Yeah, I think like second session, you started to like it and like the challenge of it. Yeah, the race and racing perspective, having that long straight with the hairpin is definitely good. I think next year if they resurface the second half of the straight, you'd have more passing because it was tough to go on the outside.
Yeah, I think, you know, the track really came alive during the race. It seems like this track, every session, the track goes more slippery, and then as you do laps, it just gets grippier and grippier, more than other street courses. And I thought during the race, it really came alive. It was cool, like the steering was heavy, you're carrying a lot of speed, and even on full tanks, we were doing almost like qualifying lap time. So that's why I started thinking, this is really cool. You know, we're doing some good corner speeds. You have to be so focused, man, like bouncing between the walls. It's insane how much effort mentally goes into do 100 laps out there. Especially when you have to race other guys around you. So yeah, I think it was a cool challenge and an awesome show for everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, you said it got real grippy and there's a lot of rubber down, but we also saw a couple of drivers that got just a hair offline and just found themselves in the wall. Was it that slick out there because of the marbles, or was it just that much different based on what it built up versus what happened?
Yeah, man, if you go out there, it's not fun. You don't want to be offline here. But I thought surprisingly on the braking of 3, the inside line was actually really good. Like we have some tracks like St. Pete, if you do a dive bomb into 1, like you just go straight because there's so many marbles. But actually here was fairly clean. So I don't think that the fact that we all like swerved left on the straight was actually good for the marble pickup and allowed you to do some good passing.
Anyone else for Will and or Felix? Great job, guys.
Good,
Thank you.
Take a couple weeks off. Oh, that's right, you're testing, yeah, okay.